Thank you, Alex. So I'll start with an introduction about us and about, let's say, the agency's style life and what is the actual situation now at a more international view. And Edoardo then will, let's say, uh, go in a more profound way in which the Italian system is. Um, so, first of all, thank you, Alex and Paolo, for inviting us. And uh, as you were saying, Alex, we started our journey in the football industry as sports lawyers. We were lucky to work together also in the sports law firm at an international level. So we were based always in Italy, in Milan, but we were traveling a lot because of our clients between Italy, London, so the UK, and the United States. Um, so what we have done as sports lawyers is, let's say, the basement of what we are now, uh, because, as you know, a lot of students that are here, and people want to become agents, but it's not a easy journey. It's a very difficult path, but with passion and goodwill, everything is possible. Obviously, it's a difficult, let's say, industry and activity, because the most important thing is the relationship and the network that agents need to go on and to go at a higher level. So what we have done as sports lawyers at an international level, this helped us in what we're doing now. So we assisted players directly, coaches, agents. That was, let's say, one of our most important clients at the time. We assisted leagues as the Serie B league in Italy, and other, let's say, sporting entities and other kinds of, let's say, uh, players, because we had the possibility to assist players as Djokovic in tennis. So this gave us, the one of the most important thing that an agent needs, that is network. So in 2017-18, we founded our company, Sport Generation. So based in Italy, we work in Italy. We started more as intermediaries, so as our first choice, thanks to our network not having our direct clients. We had some youth players and one client that is a professional coach, but we started doing working more with the players of other agents, helping the agents going maybe to the Major League Soccer, where we have a big focus, or other countries in Europe, as also UK. Um, Now in the last year, we started getting, also acquiring direct players. So what I wanted to introduce is the how the at an international level, how FIFA is regulating now the sports agencies world. So at the moment we have the regulation. So the regulation that has been changed in 2015 by the former uh, president of FIFA. No exam anymore. For example, I have the older license. I took the exam, the oldest exam, in 2012-13. In 2015, uh, they abolished, and canceled the old exam, so everybody could become an agent, just paying a registration fee. This worldwide, except for France, that maintained their state law in for sports agents with an exam, and and all precise regulations in the state. I think also in Czech Republic. What happened now in Italy? Then now Edoardo will in the next minutes he will explain a little bit what happened in Italy. So with the state law, with the introduction of a new exam that took place last year, Edoardo had to take this exam, and he arrived first in Italy. That is something that I like to say always. So what happens now? What is happening now is that FIFA is starting is building up a new regulation that will probably take place in January 2022 with a big reform that I say it's like going back with the introduction of a worldwide exam, but with very, in my opinion, difficult rules as a commission cap and other, let's say, very, let's call them interesting rules for agents that, in my opinion, are not correct. But this is not, let's say, the fundamentum of this lesson. But what we're seeing now is the rising up of FIFA that wants to change the life and the way of working of agents. In my opinion, in our opinion, it's not the best way to go on putting a lot of rules and prohibitions, and because this creates only confusion. In my opinion, the best regulation was the one before 2015. But let's say it's going to be a very going to be difficult periods, in my opinion. Also because COVID now is also not easy to deal with for agents. But just to go to what we wanted to speak now, what we are doing now as Italian agents, we're helping a lot foreign agents to come and that want to work with Italy, and vice versa, us with foreign agents, because in Italy we now have a new reform and a new regulation, and so a state law came through in 2018, and a new exam. So now to become an agent in Italy, you have to take an exam, and there are a lot of let's say regulations and rules for foreign agents to come here. So what we do and what we already started to do is to become partners of foreign agents, like foreign agents going to France. So I don't know if I said everything, Edo, but I think that this was just an introduction to what we wanted to speak about for the students here, that for them to understand what is the background and the overview in Italy.
Yeah, so thank you, Marco, for the introduction. Of course, thanks, Alec, for the invitation to the event. Thanks, Paul, for the connection. I'll try to make a long story short, actually, because if you look at here the bullet points, we're not talking about how the Italian government is facing the pandemic or how to bring people to Mars, but actually all these rules are just about regulating the board of agents in Italy, not about only football, because the rules are applicable to any professional sports agents. That means in Italy, so for basketball, cycling, golf, and football. But here we are focusing on football, so without spending too much time, as Mark anticipated, so we have this landmark decision, this landmark new regulations in December 2017. So for the 2018 budget law, for the first time in Italy, the agents are officially recognized as professional service providers. So as it happened in France years ago, now agents are all registered in a registry held by the Olympic Committee. So we had many decrees regulating the industry following this decision in December 2017. So we had a first regulation issued by the Olympic Committee, and then, of course, the regulation issued by our Italian FA. So in a nutshell, we could say, starting from the 2015 FIFA deregulation, probably here in Italy, we are in a situation of over-regulation, most probably, because as you can imagine, the official active registered agents are few hundred people, more or less. So talking about what is happening now, so it seems that we're going back to the start line, because now we had another law issued last year in August 2019, again, talking about the reorganization of the sports system in general, affecting also the industry of the sports agents. So now we are waiting for the official publishment of new ministerial decrees, especially dealing with how to be registered as an agent, talking about commission, talking about conflict of interest. And we talked about going back to the start line because there's the express abolishment of the reform of December 2017. So in terms of state law, we decided to have an intervention into the agency business. And then it seems we are going back as a circle, going back again to new state regulations, and of course, new sports regulation will follow at the moment. So just focusing now on the regulations issued by the Italian Olympic Committee, CONI, following, as said, the budget law in December 2017. So it's for the fiscal year 2018. As you can see easily, you know, again, it's just the regulations on sports agents in almost 2 years. You can see we had many decisions by the CONI, so our committee, National Council, from July 2018, going to the latest version now published of May 2020. What happens that the related FIGC regulation, so from the Italian Football Association, is still missing, is still to be published. So in practical terms, we had the last summer winter transfer window just regulated by the Olympic Committee regulations, because we didn't have already the new rules from the Football Association. Hopefully, these rules should be released and published in the next weeks by the end of the year, but we'll see. Because as a last point, we need to focus on the fact that probably following the new ministerial decrees as of this month, last month, sorry, now it's already December, there could be, again, as a circle, new regulations starting from the state law level and then the sports law, the sports bodies level, let's see. This is just about the domestic situation, just to give you the framework in Italy. And as Mark anticipated, we are waiting for the new international FIFA reform package as of most probably January 2022. So it's a very complex moment just to understand the framework of the regulations meant to become and work as an agent here. So as Marco said, there's now an exam. I had to take it. Sorry. Okay, no. Marco, are you using the presentation? No. Okay. So this is just very few words on the exam because I had to take it. As you can see, the final admission rate, the range is between 2 and 5%. Actually, the first edition, we were 800 candidates and just only 8 survivors. I was lucky to be one of those, and my legal background helped me a lot to manage the 3 levels. 2 levels at the Olympic Committee and then within the Football Association. Without prejudice, as it's written here, with the previous licenses as Marco has released before the so-called deregulation of 2015. So it's a very complex moment. Just to sit at the desk and take the first level of the exam, you can see you are obliged to take a training period of at least 6 months with an agent, or attend a training course of at least 80 hours. So it's pretty demanding, you know, just some criteria you have to meet just to sit at the desk and take the exam. So not an easy path. If you consider that still now at the FIFA level, so at the international level, the current status is a complete deregulation. So you only have to apply with a single football association, pay an admission registration fee. There are some exceptions like France, as Marco said. So in the same line, you see there's just a code of professional conduct, an insurance policy mandatory, as it will become again at the international level, most probably, and this professional educational updating for agents. So every year, like it happens here for lawyers, there will be some credits or some kind of mandatory hours of training courses, so to keep your license valid. Now, just try to go into how foreign agents can work and cooperate here in Italy. That's probably the focus of this session, considering that the audience is international. So there's this definition of established agent. That means that this definition applies for any European agent who passed test equivalence to the Italian test. What does it mean? There's a specific table, an equivalence table issued by the Olympic Committee that at the moment is stated that only French agents are allowed to become immediately established agents. Because as we said, France is one of the sole countries in Europe where there's a state law, as here in Italy, where agents so have an examination. So this first definition of established agents led us to the other definition of domiciled agents. Because what about the others? So the other agents must apply a domicile procedure. That means that they cannot operate by themselves here in Italy for a football transfer, but they have to cooperate with a registered agent through a formal process. So where there is a partnership agreement between the domiciled foreign agent and the Italian registered agent. This agreement is in writing and must be filed with the Football Association. So you can start thinking about the formalities, especially in the last days of the transfer window. Last summer, it was a test because the first time of the regulation in place, so it wasn't easy to deal with this rule. So for the non-European agents, so South American agents, United States, Asian agents, the only way to work here in Italy is to work through the domicile procedure. So working in practical terms with an Italian agent or an established agent. Another definition to complicate things, it's the compensatory measures. So in the meantime, what happens? An agent coming from Europe in a country where there's an equivalent exam like we have here in Italy. So all the European countries, with exception of a French agent, they have, if they want to be registered here, to fulfill this kind of measures. The Olympic Committee issued some guidelines, but we need to see in the future how they will be applied in practical, because it's supposed to be a test and then an internship, all managed by the Olympic Committee. I imagine it was difficult, so if you couldn't follow me, it's understandable because it's hard for myself. Let me try to recap the situation for foreign agents. So the first principle is that there's no limitation, no prejudice for all the international worldwide licenses enacted and released by FIFA before the regulation of 2015. So in our case, Marco, he took the exam in 2012, so he didn't have to take the exam, as I did. What happens? So for European agents, if you're coming from France, where there is a state law, you can be immediately established agent and work at the same level without any kind of domicile procedure or a partnership with Italian or other agents registered here. For all the others, for example, coming from Spain, they don't have an equivalent exam. So they have to fulfill these mandatory measures. And then only after this period, they can then apply for the established agent section of the register here. What happens in the meantime? they only have to work through the domicile procedure. In the end, what happens to the other agents coming not from Europe but worldwide? The only way is to work through the domicile procedure. So in the following session in breakout rooms, of course, we are happy to discuss further, because I think you may have many questions and doubts. I hope I made it clear a little bit. About general principle here, you know, at the FIFA level, there's the obligation to work usually not with minors. In case you work with minors, there's no compensation, no commission allowed. In Italy, the current status is that agents can work with minors as long as they already have at least 16 years old. That is the age when they can sign the first professional contract, but no commission is allowed. So the agents cannot be paid by the players' family members or by the clubs registering these kind of young players. There's the 3% recommendation following the FIFA rules of 2015, waiting for the new cap probably established in January 2022. And talking about the language, there is just two options, or the Italian or European language plus a sworn translation into Italian. Then, of course, again, you can imagine during the last days or the last rush hours of the transfer window, it's not easy, you know, to get a sworn translation into Italian if you're managing with foreign players, foreign agents, and it's, I mean, in case of an operation with an international dimension. So in conclusion, just to go to the major issues we think should be addressed here in Italy, but in coordination, of course, with the new FIFA regulations. At the moment, because 1 year is missing till the new deadline, there are still debates at the FIFA level. At the moment, it's important to let you understand that all the previous regulations about agents have been discussed and then published without any kind of consultation with any sort of union or association of agents. So usually at the table of FIFA, there are some representatives of the clubs, of the leagues, of the players. So ICA, FIFPro, or football leagues sitting around the table with FIFA. About agents, so agents are part of the system on one side, so everybody is registered into the system. We have potential disciplinary measures, but on the other side, there is a lack of involvement now in the discussions. What is happening now? There are some kind of new stakeholders, bodies wanted to sit at the table in Zurich just to understand how to address this kind of real issues we have. We mentioned just a few about commissions payment, for example. That is maybe the most important thing, because we don't care about the common opinion, the public opinion that agents have, you know, being sort of, you know, the bad guys of the industry. But there's a big issues because sometimes it's becoming more common that clubs are delaying payments about commissions, especially because in case there are overdue payables by clubs, the agents, the only way the agents can claim their credit is to go to ordinary courts. So they are not considered as sports credit. What it means, if clubs don't pay players' salaries or transfer fees, what happens? These are considered sports credits. So they will be subject to sports sanctions. So a transfer ban or deduction of point. So of course, the first things they're doing is paying on time player salaries and transfer fees with other clubs. About commissions, we are outside of the system in this respect. So our commissions, you know, it's like a regular service provider. So you have, you know, to send your invoice and wait for the club to pay. And otherwise, it's the traditional credit recovery procedure. So this is a significant issue to be addressed. Talking about unlawful behaviors, again, there are many. FIFA is trying to deal with them. It's very difficult to enforce some kind of new rules. There could be like a prohibition to approach a player already represented by an agent. That's very fair, I think, of course. But in practical terms, there isn't already a sort of public database or an online source for agents to understand, to verify online and live if a player is represented by anybody. So maybe there's this kind of rule, but it's difficult in real terms. And then, you know, as we said here, coach representation, finally, it's news about FIFA in the probably last week, that they will address finally also the coach representation, because so far all the agents regulations are about players representation. So there's nothing about how to represent coaches. And also, of course, you know, the new industry of women's soccer at the moment, they are not professional players here in Italy. They will be included somehow into the professional industry of football, but it's already a process. So it's very interesting. So this is it on our side. I hope we gave you just, you know, in a long story short. As I said at the beginning, I'm very open to answer your questions in general. And thanks again for your attention, of course.